Now let's talk about middleware and authentication, because we created admin user, so why not we use that and assign the access only to admins for managing the categories, right? And we currently already have middleware auth, which I mentioned briefly previously. It means that this route is accessible only for logged in users. And auth is a name of the middleware, one of the middlewares that are offered by Laravel directly. You can view those middlewares in a file called app.http kernel, and there are middlewares like auth, guest, and others. So basically middleware, how it works, it runs some checks before the URL, before the route, and if that check returns false, then it throws some error. Or it may redirect somewhere to the error page or something like that. So in case of auth, if someone wants to launch the dashboard while not being logged in, for example, I'm logged out and I'm trying to launch the dashboard, it would automatically redirect me to login form. This is how auth middleware works. And we probably should assign the same middleware to our categories route resource, because only logged in users should be able to edit categories. So we could, of course, do middleware, and then you can add middleware if it's a single middleware as string, like auth, or you can assign multiple middlewares as array, comma, some other middleware. So for example, authenticated and also admin user middleware, which you would create by yourself. But let's use a thing called route group, which we briefly have seen in Laravel Breeze auth file, and create a route group which would be only for logged in users. So route group, and the first parameter of the group is array of potential rules like middlewares, and we add middleware auth, and then the second parameter is a callback function which would contain the list of routes, and then we get route get inside of that group, and then on that specific route we don't need to specify middleware auth because it comes from the route group. And then we can put that route resource also inside of the same group because we need middleware auth protection. So again, we don't need to specify middleware here. Let's try it out. Let's try to launch the categories here. Again, I'm logged out, categories, and I'm redirected back to login. So our middleware works. Now let's create our own custom middleware to check if the user is admin or not. To do that, we run artisan command make middleware. And we call the middleware is admin middleware. As you have noticed, I like to put the suffixes, the endings of the class, so it would be absolutely clear what it is. Is it a controller? Is it middleware? Is it something else? Except for models, so if you don't have any endings and suffix, it's likely to be Eloquent model. So is admin middleware is generated in the folder app.http middleware is admin middleware, and the default structure is handle method, which returns next of the request, and before that return you need to add some kind of condition, and if that condition is met you can abort, you can redirect elsewhere, so kind of override the next. The middleware is kind of like a firewall or airport security check, if you want to call that. It checks something and prevents something, so stop from fulfilling the request. Otherwise, if it's good, then it passes you through to the next request, whatever it is. It may be next middleware after that, next gate of security check, or it may just run the URL and controller. So here we need to check if our user is admin. For that, we have helper called auth, another helper inside called user, and that would return us user object, logged in user object, and then we have a field in the database name. Admin is the name of the field. So if not is admin, then we add a return. So return some error, and again, another helper of Laravel is called abort. Abort would show error page and stop everything else from happening, and we can pass the status code of that abort, which is 403, which is by default unauthorized. Authenticated, so logged in, but not authorized, meaning don't have permission for that specific feature. So we have our middleware, then we need to register our middleware in the same kernel file which I've mentioned previously. Here, alongside the existing ones like auth and other stuff, we can assign any name. for example, isAdmin, and just specify our class isAdmin middleware class, which would be auto-completed by my PHP Storm here on top. And now we can use that route name in here, the middleware name, assigned to our route resource. So look what happens. We have group middleware by auth, but inside of that group for a specific route, we can assign extra middleware. Like here, middleware is admin. Let's put it on a different line, something like this. So now if I log in as non-admin user, for example, this one, so I log in and I'm on the dashboard, but if I click categories, I should see 403 forbidden. That's another word for unauthorized. So in this section of the course, I wanted to show you how middleware works, both the default middlewares, and auth is by far the most popular one, and also how you can create your own custom middleware.